Normal Chair, Grace Marsh, and Hank Gossard. The Secretary-Treasurer is Antonio Greco, and the Planner is Matthew Peverini. So for each application that will be considered tonight, the following process will occur. I will briefly outline the purpose of the application or applications, and then the applicant or agent will be given the opportunity to make a presentation. However, one is not required. It is the applicant's decision whether they wish to speak or let the application proceed on the merits of the information as received. Following any initial comments from the applicant, I will invite members of the public who have an interest in the application to come forward and address the committee. Those members of the public who wish to speak must clearly state their name and address and sign the corresponding request for notice form on the table in front of us, and it's on my left here, your right. After completing the form, hand it to the Secretary-Treasurer. Each individual may speak only once on an issue, and once discussion has commenced in respect of a motion, no further presentation shall be made. If you require any assistance with regard to the visual material or technical assistance, please let me know before making any presentation. This public meeting is being audio and video recorded. Your name, address, comments, and any other personal information are being recorded according to the Municipal Act and Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. This will help our town clerk prepare accurate minutes and to create a record that is available to the general public, including on the town's website. Questions about this collection should be directed to the town clerk. Please be advised that the reports being considered tonight are available on the desk in front of us again to my left. And should you wish to receive notification of any of the decisions for tonight's meeting, please complete the appropriate form. Owners and agents will automatically be notified. Please ensure that all questions and or comments are directed through me as the chair, and if relevant, I will request the appropriate person respond. It should be noted that the applicant will be given the opportunity to respond to any questions or comments should the committee feel that it is appropriate. So we'll start with the meeting tonight. And I will look for approval of the agenda for tonight's meeting. And moved by Grace. All in favor? Seconded by Hank. And all in favor? Terrific, thank you. And I'll ask if there are any declarations of pecuniary interest from members of the committee. Seeing none, thank you very much. And I'll look for the committee to approve the minutes of our last meeting. That was September the 13th, 2018, and this is meeting number 1809.
I so move.
Thank you, Roy. Seconded. Hank. And all in favor? And as Grace was not here, I think she will just abstain from that. Terrific. So we'll move on to the applications for this evening. The first application that we will hear is minor variance application MV 2018-26, and that is Marsland at 77 Wellington. And so the purpose of application 2018-26 is to permit a maximum of 8 parking spaces by requiring a variance of 5 spaces, and this is for a daycare. Department and agencies circulated. Planning Division, application reviewed, no comments. Building Division, preliminary zoning review. Engineering services, operational services. Central York Fire Services. Electra Utilities, and York Region. Application was reviewed and no comments from any of those agencies. So I'll ask if the applicant or owner is here. Good evening, sir. and I'll ask if you would like to make a presentation.
Sure. How are you doing today?
Very good, thank you. Your
name is Reza. I am representing the buyers of this property. They are currently out of the country, so.
And if you could give us your name and your address.
My name is Reza, R-E-Z-A. Last name is Rezai, R-E-Z-A-E-Y. And that's my first time here, so forgive me if I do something wrong.
Take your time, go right ahead.
Pardon me?
Take your time and please go right ahead.
Thank you so much. So it says that the applicant is requesting relief from the requirement of Section 2432 of Town of Aurora Zoning Bylaw 6000-17 as amended to permit a reduction of parking space to accommodate an outdoor playground area at the rear of the property for a future daycare center. So we have provided documents to the city that in order to open a playground, we need certain area behind the property, and by reducing the parking space from 13 to 8, we will have enough space for the playground.
Okay.
Yes, and we had to do a parking study asked by the city, which we did. And what else do I have to say? So based on the zoning bylaw 6017, minimum parking standard was 2.5 space per 100 meters square. The property was 180 meters square, which meant that we only needed 5 parking space. For the property, we currently have 15, therefore we have extra 8 parking spots that we could eliminate if permitted by the city. I kind of don't know what else to say.
If you want to, what you can do is I'm sure members of the committee will likely have some questions for you.
Okay.
And I think, you've basically given us a summary of what you're asking for and why. So if that's all you want to say at this point, that's fine.
That's all I want to say at this point.
Terrific. Yeah. Thank you. I'll ask staff, I know that there will probably be some questions with regards to the proposed parking in that play area. If you can just put up the proposed site plan, that would be great. Thanks, Antonio. And before we get to the committee, I'll ask if there are any members of the public who wish to speak with regards to this application. Terrific. So what I will do is I will look to members of the committee if there are any comments or questions. David?
Through the chair.
Just pull your mic down, David.
Just to note that, just a comment, general comment. From operation services, they have no comments subject to conditions. Just to know that. Hello. So, have you read the conditions in the staff's report?
Yes.
And do you have any comments or?
No. So I'm just wondering
are you okay?
about the deadline for these conditions. So based on what I saw, the owner, they have to hire a professional to do the study. What are the deadlines for it?
So I'll just refer to staff on that one.
Through the chair, it would be a year from the date of approval of the application, should it be approved.
Yeah, that's a standard period where conditions have to be satisfied.
Okay.
So if you're aware of that now, and
I think 1 year should be sufficient enough.
okay, terrific. Go ahead, David.
Another question. In the traffic study,
Yes.
in the conclusion, I'll say paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4. Paragraph number 4, it's about TDM measures.
Yes.
And it says the applicant is proposing to provide 3-month prepaid Presto card for every employee.
Yes.
Is it something you have promised you're going to be providing?
Yes, we have no problem with that.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anything, Roy?
On the front proposed playground, will there be any screening or trees or bushes to screen from the street? Or fence or something, privacy?
Which one? One second. So on the, if you would please repeat your question on the front of the property?
Yeah, I think what he's referring to in the package that we received,
Yes.
Oh,
there is reference to a proposed playground between the front of the building and Wellington, and then a second playground. Actually, playground number 1 is at the back, and proposed playground number 2 is at the front. And
Yes.
there's some dimensions given there, and I guess the question is there any physical separation between the street and that playground?
Currently not, but I think based on what I remember from the property, we have enough space to provide fences if need to. We will proceed with the proposed playground number 1. The second one is if the Ministry of Education asks for more space.
it's what? I didn't get that.
So it's the Ministry of Education that would potentially require additional playground. So Roy, if it is required, it would be provided in the front.
But it should be screened, of course. That's what my question is,
It should be screened.
bushes or trees or fence or something.
There is nothing currently there, but we can provide that if need to by the
Yeah,
city.
I think the ministry would actually require that.
Okay, because from now, we have proposed the first playground to the ministry. The one that we proposed to the front was just to see what are the comments that the city would have. We are planning to go with the first one, and the second one was just added, I think, the day that we came to submit the application. So we will go with the first one, and the second one, I do not think we'll proceed with it at this point. If we are going to go with it, we will talk to city for more comments.
Are we good, staff?
Through the chair, there was 1 minute left on the podium mic.
Thank you. So are you okay with that, right?
The administrator. If the ministry is involved, I'm sure they'll look after it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I believe the elevation, the rear elevation there, or the front elevation, sorry, shows that would have been fenced. Proposed playground at the back, I'm sorry, that is the back, and it does look like there's some kind of a fence there, am I correct?
Looks like something there, yeah.
The front one is not planned yet.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Roy, or Grace, or Hank?
Oh, there I go. Okay. Questions. Okay, so I'm looking at the traffic study and I'm looking at the submission, and we're talking about reducing from the current 13 to 8, which you are saying will satisfy the staff parking of 4, leaving 4 for drop-off. You're also saying that there's 10 staff going to be working here. Did I read that correctly? 7, okay. And you're obviously optimistic that these 7 individuals will not all be driving.
Oh, yes.
And you have made the assumption, one way or the other, that they will be coming by transit, and that's the way they will get to work, and that's the way they will leave every day. Similarly, it seems that there's an assumption that the people who are bringing their children here will be doing much of the same, because I read that you're going to be expecting up to 50 children, which is quite a significant number, actually. And I'm a little curious to know how these numbers were derived, because I've looked at some of these daycares, I've experienced them myself, and it seems a little optimistic that you're going to get this much transit activity bringing parents and their children here.
If you could just hit your microphone, please. Our staff, please. Thank you.
Hello?
Go ahead.
So that's why we are proposing the 3 months prepaid Presto card for the staff over there, so we can train them to use the transit. And the other thing is the owners of the daycare are purchasing a property close to the daycare, so they don't have to commute. I actually talked to their agent the other day, and I know they're doing the purchase, so I'm pretty sure they will try to convince the staff to park on their property if need to, in order to avoid congestion. I don't know if that was convincing. Because
not very. But, and I'm going to throw in another comment, because I was in there today, and the driveway dimensions going in and out of that back parking lot are not very conducive to vehicular traffic. There would be no way that two vehicles could pass each other in this driveway. And that, to me, presents a bit of a problem when you're accessing or exiting that particular driveway.
yeah, the width of the driveway is 4.5 meter. Based on the traffic study, I was convinced that this would be okay. But if the city is proposing to maybe widen the driveway, or if you have any comment, we can consider.
Well, number one, I don't think the town is in a position to widen it. Only the applicant could do that. And based upon my physical visit to the site today, it's physically impossible to widen that driveway.
Prepare myself for this question. So I did not think this question would come up. At this point, I do not have an answer for it. Because I did not, and when I reviewed the parking study, I didn't see, there was no comments about the driveway. If you would like us to do another study, traffic study for the property, we can do so. This is just a parking study. We initially started by a traffic study, and then we moved from traffic study after the consultant company that we hired, we initially asked them to do a traffic study. And then when they start communicating with the city staff, I do not have their communication right now. They just moved from a traffic study to a parking study. That's why I'm not prepared for this discussion right now. If you would like us, or if we would know in advance, I could have prepared myself for this, or we could have hired them to do a complete traffic study. Or if it's what the city wants us to do, we can sure try to proceed with it.
Go ahead, Grace.
Through the chair, please, to staff, could you give me an idea of if someone was building something from scratch, what would be our requirement for a driveway with anticipating two-way traffic? Would we have a minimum standard that we would expect for a two-way traffic driveway?
Through the chair, I can check the zoning bylaw and see if I can pull something up quickly.
That'd be great. I think that may help. We know it's 4.5. It'd be nice to know what the town's requirement is on that one.
So the chair, if you
Yep.
don't mind, I can give you the answer in general. 6 meters.
6 meters?
6 meters?
Yeah.
So about 3 meters for each car.
Just so that the applicant, I think, understands where some of these comments are coming from. So there's two issues I think that you're looking at. One is the actual reduction of parking, okay? And then the second, and the basis for that, and then the second is circulation. When you think of a daycare, you have to remember, if cars are entering, they're there because either they are staff, in which case that's not quite as serious, but if they're dropping children or picking children up and maneuvering is an issue, that's another issue. And then a car coming and trying to leave at the same time is going to create other issues, traffic issues, not just parking, but traffic. And I think, I think at this point, because I was going to bring it up as well, when I was there yesterday, I was trying to imagine picking up a child and trying to leave. And this isn't necessarily your problem in its totality, but it is amplified by the fact that I sat in the driveway trying to leave on Wellington shortly after, maybe it was 8 or 9 minutes after a train had come in. It took me almost 15 minutes just to exit the property because the traffic was backed up. And you've got cars that are leaving the GO station, the train station, and you've got pedestrians who are walking from the train along Wellington. And I would say it would probably be a typical day. And if you've got upwards of, I think, one of my colleagues mentioned, and I saw the number there too, 50 children, I'm going to imagine that most of those children who are going to be there, I didn't see any support for that in the study that was done or in the application that I read, where the potential clients are coming from. I know you did a great job showing the capture area. I know you showed all the bus routes and all the rest of it. But my concern was twofold. I tried turning around back there, and I can tell you, you're really down to about 4 spaces. You're going to have trouble getting a car either dropping someone with a child, because you don't just drop the child. You're going to walk the child in. You're going to be there for, on a snowy day, you could be there for 10, 15 minutes. 60 kids, those are the kind of questions and concerns that I had. I don't know if I've given staff enough time to double check that distance yet. Matthew, any luck on that? Antonio? I know that you cannot do 2 cars in there. You can't pass 2 cars, one coming and one going. Go ahead.
Through the chair, we haven't found it yet, but it was reviewed by zoning, and
Right.
zoning didn't advise of any concern. Having said that, even if it does not comply with current bylaw standards, it would then be deemed legal non-complying
Right.
because it is currently existing, if that assists in this matter.
Okay. Yeah, and I noted that obviously you're not making an application to reduce the width of a driveway. You're making an application to reduce parking, and that's the basis, I believe, of your traffic, your parking study.
So we have tried to work closely with city staff. If we knew, because as I mentioned, we started by traffic study, and then through the communication that the consultant had with the city, they've decided to move away from it. What we can do, we can go back to them and ask them to do a traffic study if city find necessary.
So let me then outline some options for you.
Sure.
And based on some of the comments I think that you're getting from us, you have basically two options. Option number one is to request a deferral, and your deferral would be to allow the applicant to take some of the comments that you've heard thus far and address them. And that doesn't mean that you have to go out and bring a consultant, because I think a lot of what comments you've heard relate to the width of the driveway. I believe my colleague mentioned he doesn't think there's room. I don't know that there is or there isn't room on the property to widen that driveway. I don't know if there is or isn't enough room on that property to help circulation maneuvering in the back where all the parking is. I don't know the answers to those questions. So you can request a deferral to look at that and bring it back to the committee at your convenience, or you can allow the application to move forward and you might be successful in getting your variance, or you may not. And that's entirely up to you. I don't know what the timing is with regards to the owner of the property and conditions that the owner or the applicant, tenant, would have vis-a-vis offer to lease or buy, but that's something that you would have to weigh out. And I'll look, if there's anything else any member of the committee want to add to that, I'll let you please go right ahead. Go ahead, Grace.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Just as a comment, I'm struggling with this because I love the location. I think a daycare near the train station is a fabulous idea. I think you're right that a lot of parents will walk children there, drop them, walk to the train. It's so convenient. I have some experience. My daughter works at a daycare in Toronto that happens to be right on the Danforth. So right on the Danforth, there's no place to park. And I think about 90% of their clientele take the subway, drop the kids off, and get back on the subway. So I do think there's a mindset coming that changes people's thinking, that you don't always necessarily drive your kids to daycare anymore. Little different up here. We're all pretty car-oriented people. We need that shift. So I'm excited. I'd like to see it go ahead, but I absolutely share my colleagues' concerns. Trying to get out on Wellington Street at any time near train time is a bit of a joke. And if you can't, if there isn't the ability for two-way, so you've got someone trying to get out blocking the entire driveway, people trying to get in, can't get in, I would encourage you to perhaps request the chair, have your application deferred so that you can go back to staff. They've heard our comments, you've heard our comments, and perhaps you can work with staff to change something here to make this acceptable, because I am concerned if you go ahead, that if we do have a vote and we deny it, it's denied. So a deferral is, I think, would be good, because I'd like to see you work it out with staff and make it work if you can. That'd be my comment, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Hank, did you want to add anything to that?
I just want to reinforce again the whole issue of Wellington Street being a very busy thoroughfare. And I can attest to what Tom said about the access in and out. I mean, I was there, I guess this morning, it was after 9 o'clock. And I had to wait for probably 5 minutes. I was coming from the east. I had to wait 5 minutes to turn into that property. And that's, I guess, post-train activity, because the trains are all gone by then. So I think I agree with Grace. It would be a great location, but with the traffic issues we have in downtown Aurora, especially Wellington and Yonge, plus the fact that I believe that people up here are car-oriented. They are not transit-oriented. But those are my thoughts.
I don't know if you want to make a comment or a decision or.
Go with your first option, the deferral, and we'll probably go talk to traffic expert, and hopefully they could help us out and come up with a solution for this problem that we have here.
David, thank you. Did you want to? Yeah, go ahead.
Just talking from a professional point of view, with the way the driveway is, to expand it to 3 meters and so on for two-way may be a problem. What I would say in terms of suggestion is, if you look at your back, the side which is opposite the parking area, maybe you can remove that part to create more space, so you have about 9 meters, so that when people go in, they can actually have a little bit of space when they park. There are 1 or 2 parking lots who have to be used for reverse parking and going out. I think that's maybe the only way you can help in terms of turning around. Otherwise, in terms of 2 cars, it's impossible somehow.
So the 1.5 meter that we have on the right hand side of it.
Just hit your microphone again, please. Sorry about that. Thank you.
So the 1.5 meter that we have on the right hand side of the property, the east side of it, the trees that you have just mentioned, I think we can probably work with this. I just have to go and see how many number of trees we have there, and we probably have to work again with the city to see how we can eliminate this section if possible.
And also somehow, in the traffic report, you have to clearly indicate maybe 1 or 2 parking lots will be used for reversing. Otherwise there's not much space even for reversing. Because definitely in this driveway, there's no way you could have 2 cars passing.
It's a great idea. Probably the last 2 parking spots.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I think I'm understanding your position is a request to defer. Am I correct? Okay. So we have a request from the applicant to defer. I believe we would need a motion, and I'll look to members of the committee for that. Grace?
Mr. Chair, I'll move that this application be deferred until the applicant is ready to return with a bit of a different proposal.
Thank you very much. Is there a seconder for that motion? Seconded by Hank. All in favor? And that is carried. So I think you've got a little bit of work to do, and we'll look forward to having this application come forward again. And I'll just echo, I think this committee has looked at daycare applications, and we're very sensitive to the fact that getting something close to the GO station would be ideal. And this is actually a very good location, so if we can make it work better, I think you've got a much greater chance of getting that application approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. The next application is minor variance 2018-26. Sorry, let's turn the page here. Okay, next application is minor variance 2018-27, and this is a minor variance application for 218 Earl Stewart Drive, unit number 5. Applicant is Burgos, and this application is to permit a fitness center in a building that contains industrial and warehouse uses, thereby requiring a variance. Departments and agencies circulated, Planning Division, application reviewed, no comments. Building Division, preliminary zoning review. Engineering Division, application reviewed, no comments. Operational Services, application reviewed, no comments. Central York Fire Services, reviewed, no comments. Electra, reviewed and no comments. York Region, application's been reviewed and no comments. Applicant or agent, do you want to come forward and make a presentation? If you do, we'll welcome that. And if you could just give us your name and address, please.
Hello, my name is Norman Burgos, and address is 20 Dawlish Avenue.
Thank you.
And my name is Scott Ty, and I'm from 20 Dawlish Avenue as well.
Thank you very much. So do you wish to make any presentation this evening at all?
No.
No.
Okay, thank you very much. And I'll ask if there are any members of the public that wish to speak with regards to this application. And seeing none, I'll look to members of the committee for any comments or questions. David, Roy, everyone is good. All right. So there are, I don't believe, any conditions associated with this, staff?
Good.
Staff? None? Okay. So that being said, I think there was one confirmation that staff were looking for, and that was a list of tenants in that building to see if there were any, at this time, any warehouse or industrial uses, and I would assume that that question has been answered. Information in the staff report seems to indicate that there are none, so I'll look to staff just to confirm that.
Through the chair, yes.
And the other thing, I believe the applicant should note, or that the committee should note, that this would only apply to this particular case only in this unit. If I'm correct in that?
Through the chair, yes. The condition is that this only be applied if granted to Unit 5.
Unit number 5. Okay, terrific. So I'll look to the committee for a motion on this application. Roy?
Mr. Chairman, I recommend that application MV 2018-27 be approved, no conditions attached, except that Unit 5 only applies.
Great. I'll look for a seconder on that motion.
I second.
David? And all in favor? That carries. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Okay. The next application coming forward is minor variance 2018-28. And this is a minor variance at, it's 908 Vandorf Side Road, and it's 2197616 Ontario, Inc. And the purpose of this application is to permit a maximum height of 11.5 meters, thereby requiring a variance of 1.5 meters. So the maximum height per bylaw is 10 meters, and we're looking to reduce that by to increase that, by 1.5 meters. Departments and agencies circulated. Planning Division, application reviewed, no comments. Building Division, preliminary zoning reviewed. Engineering Division, application reviewed, no comments. Operational Services, application reviewed, no comments. Central York Fire Services, application reviewed, no comments. Electra Utilities, application has been reviewed, no comments. York Region, application reviewed, no comments. Lake Simcoe Region Conservation Authority, application reviewed, no comments. And it does not look like there are any conditions, and there is a plan of subdivision, I believe, that has been approved for 20 single detached dwelling units. Applicant or agent? Good evening, welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. My name is Thomas Kilpatrick. I'm a professional planner at Malone Gibbon Parsons. I'm here representing the applicant in regards to their minor variance located at 908 Vandorf Side Road. Sorry, just waiting for the...
Yep, no problem.
I was going to say, is that Aurora?
Yeah, this is definitely not Aurora, is it? That's our next field trip, folks.
Well, I think I can get started while the PowerPoint's warming up. So the minor variance application is to increase the maximum building height to 11.5 meters, whereas the zoning bylaw limits the building height to 10 meters, thereby requiring a variance for 1.5 meters. The Town of Aurora zoning bylaw defines building height as the vertical distance measured between the average finished grade and the mean distance between the eaves and ridge of the roof. Due to the extreme grades within the property and to avoid using the retaining walls, single detached homes with walkout basements are proposed. The inclusion of walk-out basements while producing product that is compliant with surrounding residential roof lines and architecture leads to the minor variance being requested. Lots 1 to 11 will require the maximum height of 11.5, as these lots are subject to the most extreme grades. Lots 12 to 20 will require less than the maximum height, but still will require at least a maximum height of 11 meters, which is the normal max height in the Town of Aurora, with specific development south of Aurora 2C going as far as 12 meters for single detached homes on flat ground. So the subject property is located east of Bayview Avenue, north of Vandorf Side Road, and is accessed by Rickards Road. The property is adjacent to the existing single detached dwellings, newer developments that actually have a maximum height of 11 meters. The subject lands are within the approved draft plan of subdivision for 20 single detached residential units. My next point is...
Looks like you've got your
Oh, here we go.
presentation coming up there.
So if you want to go to slide 4. Just go back.
And I'll just ask staff, can we get the, we're not seeing them here on our screen, so if we just hold on just for 1 second to allow us to bring it up to speed. There we go. Did you want to just go back a little bit to?
Sure, I can recap.
Not even just allow us to just go and just click through the first few slides that we missed there, just so that we can.
Yeah. So that's
okay.
that's the minor variance application request.
Thank you.
And then next, that's the subject lands. As you can see, it's surrounded by residential development. The residential development to the west is the max height of 11 meters, including the residential units south of Vandorf Side Road. If you want to go next. So this is the approved plan of subdivision. The numbers that are identified in red are the estimated or approximate grades. So you can see that the site actually slopes from the southwest corner to the northeast corner. So this is just an elevation of one of the homes that is being planned to be built there. This home matches the architecture and the roof lines of the existing residential to the west. This is a conceptual cross-section. So this is west to east looking north. So this is showing the distance between the existing homes to the west to the proposed Lot 1. And there's actually a grade difference of approximately 3 meters. Next. This is the another conceptual cross-section. This is actually from south to north looking west. So this just shows the grade difference between the existing house to the south and the proposed, or Lot 12 within the draft plan of subdivision. So the general intent and purpose of the town's official plan is maintained. The proposal of single detached dwellings not exceeding 3 stories is in conformity with the official plan. Proposal contemplates natural landscaping and grades and avoids the use of retaining walls where possible. The proposed 2-story dwellings will be similar in height with the homes in the surrounding area. Next. The general intent and purpose of the town's zoning bylaw is maintained. Proposal ensures adequate privacy for residents and assists in achieving a uniform, aesthetically pleasing streetscape. Proposal maintains all other aspects of zoning provisions. The required variance is desirable. The maximum building height proposed is consistent with the area and is necessary considering the extreme topography in the site. The required variance is minor in nature. The proposed height is a small increase from the zoning standard, and the proposal does not pose any adverse impacts on the streetscape or surrounding character of the community. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So maybe we can just leave that last slide where it is, and I'll ask if there is anyone here from the public who wishes to speak with or comment on this application. All right. Seeing none, I'll look to members of the committee for comments or questions of the applicant. David, none? Go ahead, Roy.
Just a comment. I note a 7-meter difference in some of the grading. No wonder. Wow, that's immense.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, when you look at the detailed design engineering drawings, the grade where the existing house to the south is located is 270, and then if you go to the grade, approximate grading of Lot 12, it's 263.
And your comment about trying to avoid retaining walls, etc., is a good idea. Yeah, thank you.
Hank, any comments, or Grace?
You, Mr. Chair, just to follow up to Roy's comment about you're going to try to avoid retaining walls. Are you going to have any retaining walls?
Through you, Mr. Chair. I think that wording is actually from the official plan. This site does not have any retaining walls. That is why there's walkout basements, and that is why the height increase is required.
Grace is good. Sorry, Thomas, if I can. I probably should have just suggested that you not go too far away from that podium there. So, probably just a couple of very general questions, and I'm assuming, and I'll ask if this is the case, have none of these homes or have any of these homes been sold? Because I'm looking at the request, and from your presentation, I'm not going to assume that A, they are all sold, and B, that you will need variances depending on the model that is built or the, what the potential owner might want. Am I correct?
I am not aware of if these homes have been sold or not. The variance is to allow the developer the flexibility to provide whatever home the buyer may want to purchase.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to know whether or not any of them had been sold and, we're waiting on the approval of a variance in order for the sale to take place, and I assume then that that's not the case. Am I correct? Yes. Or you're not aware?
I'm not aware.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and yeah, I think that's all I have. So I'll ask for a motion on this application from the committee.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I move to approve application MV 21828 to permit a maximum height of 11.5 meters, thereby requiring a variance of 1.5 meters.
And I'll ask a seconder, Grace, and I'll ask all in favor. And so that carries, Mr. Kilpatrick. Thank you. Okay, so I believe that are all the applications that we have this evening. I'll ask if there is any new business arising from our meeting this evening or previous meetings. And did you want to ask staff about the no? Not on the record? Okay. So seeing no new business, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
Thank you, Roy. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.